Well, another edition of Wings Weekly starts now. And again, head coach Scott Langer is joining me. I'm Jay Kleinknecht. Coach coming off a split on the weekend here at the OD Ice Center. Some exciting and fun hockey games and great crowds. We got to thank all the fans that came out for sure. A very exciting overtime win on Friday night there with Jibber Cool getting a long pass that allowed him to go in 1-0 and give the Wings a win and take those points away. Loss on Saturday, but again, an exciting and close contest. Your takeaways from the weekend. You know, Austin, we know they're a very good team, and they've got a lot of attributes for sure. Were you pretty happy with the way your team played?
Yeah, there was moments. I mean, I thought that I thought Friday night we started slow, but got better. Obviously, we went up and then gave up a quick one there to make it 2-2. But our third period was good. Obviously, the play from Mackey and Weisner to Gibber was a great play, and they were two big points. Saturday, we had nothing going on in the first period. We just couldn't seem to get our feet going in that first period. We were very fortunate to come out of it where we were. But we play a good hockey game, we really did, and we make one mental error and obviously lose the game on a breakaway to their best score, number one scorer. So that one was hard to swallow, based on I thought we were starting to generate some things and making some plays, and to give a goal up like that, especially on a performance like Daibo had. He was outstanding all weekend, and he gave us an opportunity to win both nights. But that's a hard one to give up.
Yeah, it surely is. But again, in the hunt, and you're playing good hockey in a lot of aspects, and it's late in the season trying to piece things together in some ways. But we've talked several times actually over the course of the season about being outshot and how important it is to have those grade A chances. And there's a lot of teams actually in the Central Division this year for one reason or another, whether it's St. Cloud or Austin or Minot or whatever, that like to throw shots from the perimeter, and they're going to rack up shots on goal. You guys, again, being outshot, but yeah, the shots that you did have were good scoring chances. Do you still feel that way? Do you still feel like it's more important to take those high percentage shots?
Yeah, I mean, the Friday night game, they had 10 shots on their power plays, which was a big difference.
Special teams for sure.
On the clock, showing the difference in shots. But I mean, you do want more volume. And you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up so many, shots where you're asking your goaltender to make a lot of saves. But this year's group is different in that way than the past. But we did get timely scoring. We had enough to win the hockey game both nights, and that's what was important. But I just think when you're heading into, if you are fortunate enough to find a way into the second season in the playoffs, you got to look to keep your opponent around 22, and we need to do a better job of that.
Few more block shots here and there, those kinds of things for sure. And again, some of those, they're little like dribblers that are coming in from the logo, or it's technically a shot on goal, but it's not a great scoring chance in some of those cases too. So I say that during the broadcast, and I know you and I have talked about it, like I said, several times over the course of the year. But the more you put there, that have chances, the better their scoring chances are. Anyway, weekend in the books. Great jersey auction on Saturday night. Excuse me. And, great crowds, as I mentioned. Awards Banquet yesterday. I wanted to roll through these with you. And just kind of not only acknowledge the winners of these awards, but also talk a little bit about, what they bring to the table. Of course, we start with the first award of the night was the Nancy Odie Merit Award. Amanda Holland, the Billet coordinator, who has taken over and been in control of those things and having to kind of coordinate all of these things over the last, 3 years, but she's been a Billet family. They've been a Billet family for, I think, 14 years. I think the entire time, if I'm not mistaken. Well, how important is she? And when you have these visitors coming in and out, and you have these players here, that are away from home and so on, Amanda does a great job.
She's vital. She does a lot of work. She takes a lot off Eric and I's plate. It's not easy because there's a lot of moving pieces all the time with players coming in, affiliates, there's injuries, guys have to come in at the last hour. She's got to coordinate all that, even from the start of the season where we're placing players into billet homes. I mean, she's got to know the families, she's got to know the personalities, and she's got to meet the players. She's a vital part of this staff. It just doesn't work without what she puts into it. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't get, no one gets to see what she does. She does it just because she obviously loves the game of hockey. She enjoys giving back. She's seen her two daughters go through hockey and now playing at a good level in college. And she's truly a solid piece of this puzzle.
No doubt. She and her husband Brian have been Billet family for a very long time. They've seen a lot of players come and go and have been a huge part of the Aberdeen Wings, but as you mentioned, even as Aberdeen Cougars, and their daughters were standouts there for sure. All right, on to the next award was the Rookie of the Year, which was Leo Bulgakov. Leo is the leading scorer on this team, and we talked about roles, I think it was last week, and about how fiery he's become, but he's also a guy that you lean on to, I don't want to say expect or lean on maybe, but he's a goal scorer. He's a skilled hockey player. How much has he meant to this hockey team?
Yeah, he's meant a lot, and he's had to do it coming over here, very limited English, having to fight that language barrier. Players and coaches, they forget sometimes that how hard it is for these players to come over from another country, mm-hmm. and they're trying to learn the language and they're not fully understanding what you're saying. And he's come in and done a really good job there. And when Leo's on, we're a different hockey team, mm-hmm. and he's done a great job of putting up points, and he's a big piece of the penalty kill, and he's on the power play. So as a rookie, he eats a lot of minutes.
It's funny because I think I even mentioned Tishkovich, certainly having the two of them play together since they were like 14 years old and having the connection there, clearly Nikolai has helped in that regard too. But I can remember meeting Leo at the showcase in Blaine, and you mentioned the language barrier. I was trying to explain to him where the boys were playing Suey. They're over, and he's looking at me like, what? And I'm like, they're over there. And it didn't even occur to me that and he's looking like he was completely lost and wandering around the Schwann Center there at the showcase, and I'm trying to guide him, and I'm like grabbing him by the arm and I'm pointing at him like they're over there, and he just no. So then he went that way and found them, but that was quite a shock to me that I was like, he really his English was definitely limited to start the season, and how much better he's got even in that capacity as the season has gone along is really impressive, and no doubt Nikolai Tishkovich has helped in that regard too. But to be able to communicate and to be able to go through when you're talking penalty kill meetings and power play meetings and watching video sessions and all of those things, that is a challenge. But he kudos to him because he's done a great job. So congratulations on the Rookie of the Year for him. Most Improved Player, Jibber Cool. Overtime winner on Friday night, and we've seen this young man who has increased his minutes as the season has gone along. We continue to see him play more and more, and just really continue to improve. And that he's a young guy. He's got a lot of hockey future ahead of him too.
Yeah, he's an 05, so he was an easy scratch in the beginning, really easy scratch. Didn't think twice about keeping him out of the lineup, and then I would say just after Christmas he didn't come back because he was sick. He had to stay home, but then he joined the team, and then he kind of got back at it, and then his game just started to grow. And his confidence level. He started to buy into what we were preaching, what we think a hockey player looks like, and what it takes to be a hockey player on a successful team. And Gibber started to stick his nose in it more. He started to get a little hungrier on wall battles and get pucks out, and then he's developed a bit of a scoring touch and a playmaking touch, and he's a hard scratch now.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you can't scratch now, and we've had some players in the room do a really good job as rookies this year, but Gibber completely stole that award, and the guys really respect him that have been here since the beginning of the year in training camp to where he is today. He's now in a place where he can start looking at some Division I interest.
Well, and it's funny because we often talk about, or in sports, no matter what sport it is, make it impossible for them not to play you. Like, you do the work, they don't have a choice. They've got to play you. They need you, and that is what he has kind of become here in the last half of the season for sure. And I would actually add to that his physicality. He's had some big hits and a lot of physicality. You mentioned board battles and so on, but I think he's got the hit of the game a few times too, and he's been really a force in that way too. So it's just another one of the aspects, one of the components of the game for sure. Offensive player again, Leo Bulgakov. We already talked about him a little bit, but he's been a huge part of the offense for this Aberdeen Wings team. Defensive player. Now this is one that I feel like is a little bit like pretty close to your heart as a defenseman, and being a defensive-minded guy where you like to see low scoring games, and you love seeing blocked shots and all of those kinds of things. But then the guy comes up with 2 goals and an assist and hit of the game on Friday night. Nick Comfort. Congratulations to Nick Comfort on the Defensive Player of the Year. He's been a huge impact and a huge player in a very quiet way in a lot of ways, but his presence on the ice is not quiet.
No, he's a complete throwback style defenseman where his number one prideful thing is to shut you down and to block your shot and to play gritty. Obviously, he's developing some offensive instincts, which is good for him. It's good for us. But what people don't see is who he's playing against every night. He plays against the top players on every other team. He's the first one over the boards to kill a penalty. He's the last 5 minutes of the game on the ice because you trust him. He's the votes for that award weren't even close. It was Nick Comfort by a long mile. And I agree with it. If I need a guy to get something done defensively, I can look at Nick and give him a nod, and he knows exactly what he needs to do out there.
Great hockey IQ too.
Yeah, he understands the game, but you know what? He doesn't care about any credit. He's not a credit guy. Like, he just comes in here, does his job, doesn't say a whole lot, leaves, works out, leaves, and then he's back at it the next day. He's an interesting hockey player that I had to be convinced to take him last year, and it was one of the best things that happened to this team because he's a true warrior, I guess you could call him.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, throwback defenseman, and he does a heck of a job, and we sure appreciate him. Hard hat winner. Now, a hard hat is the worker. One of the workers. All of these guys are working, no doubt, but the Hard Hat Award goes to somebody that is out there just pouring it on and helping their team in every way that they can. And again, these awards are all voted on by their peers, by their by the staff, by everybody that are working closely with them. Bennett Kopel getting the Hard Hat Award, and like you said, about Comfort, Bennett's one of those guys too, really, that, you know, you just see him. He's just a grinder, and he's out there just doing that sandpaper stuff. He's working on the boards. He's battling on penalty kills or in board battles and stuff. And he's just a physical guy that just doesn't have a lot of. There was no give up in him. He's been a big attribute and a big part of this team too.
Yeah, you know, he came in last year and bought into our culture and our identity really, really quick. He's another guy that once he got in the lineup, you couldn't take him out. Because he just plays with such pace, you know, Coops isn't a goal scorer by any means or a setup guy, but he does all the dirty work that's needed, and that includes having every one of those guys on the bench's back. Yeah. Everybody knows that having Coop on the bench or even on the ice is some security for some guys, and Coop's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of anything. You know, he'll go through walls for his team, and he just plays at such a rate every night, and he does things behind the scenes that, you know, like when you're not watching, Nick or Bennett's in here, you know, vacuuming floors. He's cleaning, he's doing things, he's taking out the trash for the first year guys that don't do their chores. We're gonna miss that kid. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. And you know, obviously he won the Hart Award too, and I know you're gonna get to that, but that's what he is. Yeah. Like, and he's going to go to college, and he's going to play 4 years. He's going to have a great time. He's going to hopefully win a championship, because he's going to be taking his ability to lead, you know, not just verbally, but he shows it. He's going to take that to a college, and they're just going to love him.
Well, and it's funny, just the personality. He's got a great sense of humor. He's just, you know, again, a guy that the players around this locker room can lean on, and that they can really, you know, like you said, trust that he's going to have them. He's one of those guys, you know, that he doesn't ask questions. He just goes after them, because that's my guy. He's, you know, that, and you got to love that. I'm kind of old school in that sense, and I love that. The Odie Community Service Award, huge part of this this culture and of this team. Talked with Greg Odie about this a little while last night, and a little bit, you know, with Nancy as well, about, you know, the importance of these guys going out into the community and reading to elementary school kids, or helping them skate and giving them some lessons, or maybe working with them at the YMCA or whatever it might be. That is a big part of what this whole team is all about, and, you know, giving back to the community that supports them. And this year's recipient of that award was Drew Mackey, and really knowing the family a little bit and stuff, not a huge surprise, but he's been fantastic.
Yeah, you know, I think he would have done even more. It seemed like everything that came up, he was willing to go do it. I think his brother won that award.
His brother did,
back when Gage was a last year player here, and you know, he ate it up as well. But, you know, I mean, when you meet Drew and you talk to Drew, he's a very caring individual, and he understands, because of the, you know, his dad owned a pro hockey team. He was involved in hockey, and Drew and Gage were around hockey, you know, basically their whole life. That there's way more to the game than what you see on the ice. At the junior level, especially once you get to juniors and then on the minor pro, it's all about giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. It's all about these guys learning how to talk in front of people and what it means to pay it forward. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, it's a Mackey, you know, and doesn't surprise me one bit he got the amount of votes that he got, but I know he was just always asking and willing to do things when they came up. He never shied away from it. So, you know, I think, you know, he'll be our vote for the NAHL Community Service Award as well.
It certainly doesn't surprise me. As we talked about, his brother won it. Gage had a huge influence, no doubt. But we know Gage was back in February, I think it was, somewhere right after the break, if I'm not mistaken. I had a chance to talk with him, and how polished he has become. And he was always, obviously very great while he was here, but even more so now. And it's just like that. They're great people. And congratulations to Drew Mackey on that community service award. And we thank you as a community, as Aberdeen, as Groton, as Ipswich, as Frederick, as Redfield, all the people that come to these games. We thank you for all the support that you give and all the hard work that you put in. You talked about a Coach Hart Award. Again, Bennett Copel, can't say enough about the effort that he has put in as an Aberdeen wing. And we talked about him a little bit already, but then moving on to the MVP, Adam Duvall. The guy has stood on his head at times, and no denying, there are times he's struggled, but everybody is going to, and he takes it heavy. I've seen him. I watched him in Minot one time after a game, just leaning against the wall, just by himself. Like, you could tell that he was just going through every shot and every save and I just looked at him. I'm like, bud, you played really well. Like, don't beat yourself up on this. He takes it personally, and I don't think the Aberdeen Wings would be in the position that they are right now, on the edge of clinching a playoff spot without the goaltending that we've seen all year from both goaltenders, but certainly from Adam. Yeah,
and Adam won his teammates over from the start of training camp with just the type of individual he is. He's got a personality to him. He's a really caring individual, and he loves to play, and he's played a lot of games as a young goaltender. It's really hard to throw a young goaltender of his age into the position that he had to get into with so many games and such a workload. But he is a big reason why we have an opportunity to make the playoffs, and his teammates voted for him. They truly love him and they believe in him, and he's a kid that's going to be really grateful of that award.
Oh yeah.
And I'm happy that we found a way to recruit him here, and hopefully he's a player we get back next year, and I think if you get a guy like Adam back, you have a pretty good chance at winning a lot of hockey games.
Well, it's interesting to add to that a little bit. You just mentioned, when you're a goaltender and you have the support of the players that are playing in front of you, they're going to block that extra shot. They're gonna, when somebody's roughing you up on the blue paint in the crease there or whatever, they're gonna have your back that much more. And that's an important piece too. Is when you have the support of the locker room, that adds a lot.
Yeah, you always want your team playing for your goaltender, and that's not always the case.
No.
See it over a lot of years that teams play different in front of different goaltenders, and they really respect Adam. And that's not that taking anything away from Corey. I'm just talking about Adam because he's been named the MVP, and the guys truly love him. And Adam takes losses about as hard as I do. And he always wants back in there, and he's always preparing himself, for the next opportunity. So glad that the team's seen it, and he was voted MVP.
I love the goaltending tandems sometimes. The way these guys work, and the way, like you mentioned, Croy, the way that Croy and Adam work together, and the way they support each other. Adam would get upset and break a stick one time. I saw him, and Croy went straight over to him, and it was just like, I got you, like as a change is being made or whatever. I love seeing that teamwork, camaraderie, and certainly playing a position like they play. It is different than the rest of the guys in this locker room for sure. Well, as far as the standings go, Minot has clinched the Central Division now. Bismarck is in second, Austin in third, Wings sitting in fourth on the bubble kind of there, with St. Cloud there with the same amount of points but fewer wins. So the tiebreaker goes to the Wings. and then North Iowa at the bottom of the division. Wings move on to North Iowa this weekend. We go down to Mason City to take them on to close out the regular season. Interestingly enough, Minot and Bismarck will play each other. Austin and St. Cloud will play each other this weekend. So it really is going to come down to the very final game of the season, very final game of the regular season anyway, and final game of the weekend. So things are interesting, that is for sure. But the Wings have their playoff lives. Obviously, so does Austin and St. Cloud. But there's a lot on the line, and we know that. We've talked about it for weeks here about how every point matters, every point counts. Big weekend to be able to get some from Austin here on Friday night there too. All right, Coach, I will let you get going here. We've got again, thanks so much for everything that you do. Thanks so much to everybody that came to the awards banquet. The support of the community has meant so much to this organization over the years. There's no denying that. And to see some 250 people, something like that, in the Shrine Center and cheering on these players and supporting this team on a Sunday evening it's amazing. It's great to see. So thank you so much for your time, and good luck against North Iowa here this weekend.
Thanks, Trey.
All right, folks, we're going to have a second portion of Wings Weekly without a player, but assistant coach Eric Hirschhaut coming up.
Lights Bar and Event Center is your official home for the Aberdeen Wings. Stop down for an ice cold beer or drink and choose from one of the many excellent food options on their menu, available for both lunch and dinner. And when your Aberdeen Wings are on the road trying to earn their way back to the Robertson Cup Championship, come on down to City Lights and watch the away games as the audio and video are streamed live. City Lights Bar and Event Center, the official home for the Aberdeen Wings on South 2nd Street, just south of the overpass in Aberdeen.
Second portion of Wings Weekly continues on, and like always, we've got another guest, or not almost always, we've got a guest, but this time it's not a player, it's assistant coach Eric Hirschhaut. Again, as busy as you guys are, we sure appreciate you taking some time to talk to us, but I know you've been a very busy guy when it comes to getting tenders in and recruiting and watching film and going out on visits and stuff, and you've taken some trips here recently, to watch some guys in person and so on, and I kind of want to just get a little bit of a fill-in on what you've been up to, and how, again, we know that the regular season is coming to an end. This season certainly isn't over, folks, but it's always a process. It's always a process to build for the next year. So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, so started off at the beginning of the year, obviously, when we were in the Blaine Showcase, watching the Minnesota Elite League, and then obviously they had the Blades, Minnesota Blades AAA Showcase, and then watching some future tenders there, kind of getting some eyes, and then obviously we tendered Tyler Doms and Kyle Sorensen out of the NAP Showcase in Blaine, and then the last couple of weeks I've been recruiting out on the road. I went out to Buffalo, New York for the New York State tournament, and then this past week before getting back on Thursday, before playing at home, I was out in Las Vegas watching a lot of our tenders at the Tier 1 USA Hockey Nationals for the U16 and U18 birth years. So a lot of good players out there, and really excited about our tenders coming in here. And then obviously there's some more that we obviously need to fill. We have a few available. So obviously Coach Langer, myself, and our scouting staff will go through that here. And obviously the focus is this weekend, but the future's bright here, so really excited about that.
Oh, for sure. And it was one thing, like last week, we had Greg Odie joined us on the show, and I talked with him a little bit about the character and about how important that is when it comes to the family culture and the family organization that this Aberdeen Wings team is. How do you, when you're watching players and so on, you're watching the ability, you're watching the skill on ice, is there a measurable thing that when you go to talk to them, or whatever it is after a game or something? I said it last week, but it's a hard thing to really quantify without getting to know them a little bit. But you seem really good at doing that. You seem like you're really open, I guess, to speaking with parents and whatever it might be. What are you looking for?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Jay. So kind of what we've done this year and what I've kind of implemented with Coach Langer and Craig and Al and the rest of our scouting staff and Lou, we've done Google Meets with the kids and their families just to get to know them on a personal level, and then obviously reaching out to their agents, advisors, and then schools, if not, that have recruited them as well.
Sure.
We kind of do our homework on that and get to know the kid, the family, obviously talk to their coaches, then obviously previous coaches that have had them in the past. And then obviously we have kids in our team that have played with maybe some kids that we've had
It's
come
a
in
small
here. So
world.
it's a very small world, yeah. So it's been good. It's been a fun process, and really excited about some of these kids.
One of the things that just not cracks me up, but always kind of just astounds me, maybe is a better word, of the way it is, how people have played against one person or another, or they know somebody from a team or whatever, and that you can get a read from somebody, that may have played with them before. But it is an absolute process, and I know that's the case for every team. Every team in the league, probably even beyond the league, not just the North American Hockey League, but in the BC or whatever else it might be, they're looking for the right guy, the right fit, the right locker room player, a leader or whatever it might be. So that's always interesting too. Do you have anything else coming up? I know you've got a bunch of tenders. I don't think we have time to really go through all of them, that have been announced. But you've got some players that are coming through the system. Like you said, Dom's is one we've seen, had a chance to play, here for the Wings, and seen him on the ice a bit. We've seen a few others over the course of the season, of course. But any other recruiting kind of events as the season goes along, or as it closes out, really? But any other events? Yeah,
there's a tournament in Minnesota in a couple weeks called the ITT. I'm pretty sure that will be at New Hope. I'll be in attendance for that, and obviously the NHL Top Prospects event as well, which will be at the Robertson Cup. Hopefully we're playing there. And then we obviously will have a team there as well. So really excited about that. And then obviously the national camp's coming up this summer as well for younger kids down the road. So.
Always a chance, and we ask players this often. What would your advice be, for a player that is wanting to make their way up, maybe an 8-9-year-old player or whatever, somebody that's going through the Cougar Development League here in Aberdeen at some point, whether it's at the squirt level or whatever. What do you think is a good piece of advice that you would give to a player that's looking to advance their career into juniors and on to collegiate?
I would say get 1% better every day. There's always something you can work on, whether it's skating, off-ice training, shooting, stick handling, getting bigger, stronger. Obviously for younger kids, it's more of the hands and the skating. Obviously they're not fully developed yet, so they're obviously getting on the ice as much as possible and working on their shot at home. Obviously there's plenty of time they have at home outside of homework and all that.
Yeah.
So to do all that and just get better every single day. So that's my advice, and it's been great working with the youth hockey here in Aberdeen, and they seem very passionate. I even said to some of these kids, love to see kids from here play for the Wings one day, and it's not impossible. So just get better every single day, and just work your hardest and put all your chips in.
Great advice, folks. If you've got a son, if you're a hockey fan, you've got a son or a daughter that is playing hockey, there you go. 1% better every day. Just keep working on those skills and keep. It's just like an artist with a brush. Keep working to get better and get those skills more and more refined, I guess. All right, so North Iowa coming up. Excuse me. Sorry about that, folks. North Iowa coming up this weekend. The Bulls are mathematically eliminated, but they are a dangerous team. They are a physical team. They, and they've got a lot to play for, certainly when it comes to pride and all of these other things. And, we've seen them play hard against the Aberdeen Wings over the course of the season. What do you see as some key matchups? What are you looking for from your guys?
Yeah, I think we know what's at stake. Obviously, our season's on the line here, and we need to go in Friday night, and it's a must-win. We need to play our best game of the year on Friday night and put all our chips in and have a great 60 minutes, and then obviously see what happens after that, and then take it into Saturday. And we just need to worry about ourselves. Obviously, North Iowa's a team that has a lot of speed, and they capitalize on mistakes that you make, so we can't give any of that up, and we need to be disciplined as well. They're a very big, heavy, physical team that likes to get into stuff after the whistle, and we just need to be smart and stay out of the box. And I think our attitude needs to be really good coming into this weekend. We need to just take care of business and
disciplined.
Yeah, be very disciplined.
That really is the word that I keep thinking of as I think about this matchup. Discipline. Stay out of the box. Stay out of the trouble and out of the scrums afterwards and all that kind of stuff. Because again, with Austin and St. Cloud playing each other, and as you just said, you can't worry about that. You gotta worry about yourselves. Take care of business. But it's going to come down to the very final moment here of the the regular season here. And the Wings, again, fighting through playoff lives. As we just talked about North Iowa this weekend, 7:10, puck drop both nights. Watch the City Lights Bar and Event Center in Aberdeen or by logging on to NAHL TV. You can listen to 94.1 The Rock here locally, terrestrial radio. At hubcityradio.com online or on the Rock app. You can download that to your phone or your mobile device and listen anywhere in the world. So that's what we're looking forward to this coming weekend. Sponsorships and reserve season tickets are now available for the 2024 and 25 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you're probably watching this here on YouTube as well, so you can check that out and see all of these, all the different videos on YouTube. Coach, I won't keep you. Like I said to Coach Langer, even though I stretched that one out a little bit with him, but we're gonna let you get going. I know you got a lot of work to do as you guys get ready to close out this regular season. But thank you so much for joining me and giving a little bit of an update to the fans and the parents or whatever else it might be that are watching this and kind of wondering a little bit about how the recruiting process and so on goes on. So thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everything last night too, by the way.
Yeah. The Awards Banquet went fantastic. I think it's always great to recognize the players and have the fans get to interact with them a bit and stuff. So, the Awards Banquet last night, that's in the books. And thanks to the Yildiz Shriners for hosting us there as well, and Qdoba for a fantastic meal. All right, Coach Eric Hirschhaut, thank you, and thank you for watching and listening here to Wings Weekly. That'll wrap up this week's episode.